Do you remember how excited we used to get when our parents would measure our growth as little kids? I have to ask you this. Were you one of those kids that had those growth charts hanging from the back of your closet door? So many of my friends did. When it was time to measure us, we would always put our backs flat up against the wall, heels together, shoulders back, neck stretched as if we're balancing a bundle of books on our head. I remember that like it was yesterday, and every inch mattered. It mattered because we could see our growth right before our very eyes. And the best part was, we didn't have to do anything for it to even happen. It was automatic. And as time went on, and because it was automatic, we stopped measuring our growth. Now, fast forward to today, it seems as if we measure everything now. We measure profits, revenue, performance, calories, steps, how many followers we have on social media. And if you're anything like me, my friends, you might even measure how many cups of coffee it takes just to get through a Monday morning. It seems like we measure, track, and optimize everything these days. But yet, there's one thing we rarely measure. And that one thing is our growth as leaders. In the work that I've done over the past 8 years, I have had the ability and opportunity to build a leadership training and development company. And that has given me the opportunity to work with thousands of leaders all across the world. Now, these are leaders of all different generations, different experience levels, and so many different industries. And in conversations that I've had with them, I've realized lately, now more than ever, that they're all saying the same exact thing. And that thing is, I was not prepared for this. You see, we promote people for their performance and their tenure. But if we really prepared them with the skills that it takes to lead people, Harvard Business Review actually has called them accidental managers. People who are promoted for their performance, but never really trained how to lead people. And I see this over and over again in organizations I work with. One of the things I've noticed also is some leaders go many years before they receive any type of meaningful training and development. And think about this, maybe this is you out there, or you know someone like this, but what this is resulting in are so many leaders who are stressed out, frustrated, and burnt out. And when we think about this, it always reminds me of when I was promoted to a manager. Now, I have to ask you a question. Does your team have a nickname for you? Back then, my team had a nickname for me. And let me tell you, for those of you in the audience that are thinking your team doesn't have a nickname for you and you just shook your head, haha, your team has a nickname for you. You just don't know about it. But my team, they used to proudly call me Money Merbler. I know, it sounds cool. But what it really stood for was that I was really good at driving revenue. I was a great salesperson. And so, of course, when a management position opened up, I was the obvious choice. No hesitations, no questions, just She's successful. She'll figure it out. And I remember that day that I signed my offer letter. It was a big deal. I remember how excited I was for this new chapter of my career growth. My boss even flew in from out of town because he wanted to take me to lunch to celebrate it. And I will never forget that lunch when he leaned across and looked at me straight in the eye, and he handed me this big stack of binders. And he said, "Kelly, you got this. And everything you need to know is in this manager manual." And at the end of the day, he got on a plane and he flew back home. And just like that, I was a leader. Now, let's be real. It did not take me long to understand that no manager manual was going to do this work for me. And there is no manual that will prepare any leader for the moments you are asked to lead people that 3 days ago were your peers. And so I went from a newly promoted, so excited about this new journey manager, to one who felt so insecure. I felt like such a failure. And there were some Mondays that I didn't even want to go to work anymore. Now, a lot of leaders don't realize that how they're feeling doesn't just stay with that leader. It actually follows us into how we lead our teams in the form of engagement. And you may ask, why the heck is even engagement important? Well, the Gallup organization has studied employee engagement, and they have found that 70% of employee engagement is tied directly to the manager. So think about this. If all of these managers are out there feeling stressed out, overwhelmed, and frustrated, what are they carrying forward on a Monday morning into the teams that they lead? And all of this got me thinking. So many leaders think that the biggest challenge of the future and the biggest risk is that technology is moving too fast. I beg to differ. The biggest risk in the future is that the leaders of today are not prepared in their own growth and development to lead their teams through change in the future. And let's pause for a second, and let's just let that soak in. So if we need better leaders, and leaders who actually grow on purpose, because growth is not automatic, then what can we actually do that we have control of? Because the research is obvious, and in my years of experience, I can confirm it. No one is going to do this for us, and we have to take ownership for our own growth. So I believe that it comes down to 3 leadership growth shifts. I like to call it AWD. That's right, all-wheel drive leadership. Because the leaders of the future that will be most successful will be the ones that learn how to shift when the road changes and will drive differently. Shift 1. We have to shift from assumption to curiosity. I was a great salesperson, so of course my assumption was I'd be a great leader. Boy, was I wrong. I failed at it. I had to learn how to be curious in a whole new way that I'd never been. curious about what my teams needed from me. What were the questions I needed to ask them? And how could I keep them engaged when times were changing? Shift number 2. We have to go from want to willing. So many people want to be a leader for the title, the prestige, and the paycheck. But so many, they're not willing to do the work that it takes to be a great leader, to be coached, to be uncomfortable and work on themselves when they need to get better, and to ask for feedback. And the last shift is we have to go from doing to developing. So many of us were promoted because we were great at doing our job. But leadership isn't about doing more. It's about developing others. Maybe in the past, we measured our growth in inches. But now, we don't measure our growth in inches anymore. Leadership growth is measured in impact. And every single day, people are showing up to work and being shaped by the very leader in front of them. It's not being shaped by titles, promotions, or how much we get done. It's being shaped by the impact, how people feel around us. Do they grow because of us? And are they getting better because we showed up in their life? Now, I will never argue and dispute that leadership is a huge responsibility. I've lived it. I understand what that feels like. But I've also learned in my own growth that leadership is the greatest gift we can be given. And I don't think we talk about this much. In the past, we may have measured our growth in inches and how we shape others' lives. But I'm going to leave you with this one question. Every day you have the opportunity to shape someone else's life because of the impact you make. So this last question I leave you with. Who is getting better because of your leadership? Thank you.